Let me bring them on in. How's it going,
It's
Ryan?
going good. It's going good.
How's it
So
going,
many
man?
things. Yeah, it's going great. I've
Definitely.
been trying out a whole bunch of new things, and so I'm doing pretty good. Always learning.
How's the trip? The vacation?
Vacation? I've been here for I don't even know, a few years. I don't think it's my trip anymore. I think I'm
Okay.
actually living in the States. Yeah.
Definitely, mom. I want to definitely get started. And how did you became tapped into the astral realms? And when did you first start? And when did you first knew? I mean, we can go back to early as like when you was like probably 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, how did you know?
Yeah, because I didn't know when I was a kid or a toddler. I had no clue what was happening. I would just see dead people and two-dimensional shapes that could speak to me telepathically at night, stuff like that. I would just think it was normal, because until you're taught that the only type of person you're supposed to speak to is your own, like another human, you kind of think that you're supposed to talk to everything, especially if you're young, especially if you're at that age where you can communicate to things in a more spiritual sense. Perhaps you're listening to trees speak, or maybe you're hearing voices around you. And you're young, so you're not schizophrenic. It's not like something's happened to you. You're just wide open to things. And so I was wide open to things as a kid, more specifically ghosts and entities. And there were two ways in which I would communicate to these things. And at the time, I just thought, these things were around like people were around. I couldn't differentiate the ways in which you communicate to these things, like telepathy or astral projection. And so, yeah, there's this astral projection where you slide out your body by accident, usually when you're trying to go to sleep. So as a kid, I'll lie there, try to go to sleep. I don't even remember blinking. I'm just like wide awake waiting. And all of a sudden, a fat man materializes himself at the foot of my bed, starts speaking to me. Or perhaps my wall cracks open and this weird goblin-looking creature looks at me and stares me down. It's a very negative entity. Or I would see a ghost dog run up the stairs and run through the door of my sister's room. So night times were times when I'd often see things. And again, I didn't know I was actually projecting because I'd barely blink. I wouldn't blink. It would just happen. And it wasn't until I was in college that I understood what was happening, because I started to instigate the experiences deliberately. Yeah. So there is a little bit that I kind of skipped over though. Around the age of 13 to 16, I wasn't seeing anything or astral projecting. I suppressed everything. I say it's because life got to me, like the experiences of life, having crushes, for example, or being stressed out because you can't do your homework. Like at the age of 13, that's when people really got in my head and stressed me out and made me confused. It's not all their fault though, because my brain was changing as a teenager, a new teen. And so there were many different thoughts in there and ways of beings that were installing themselves into my character at the time. So I became distracted, like most teenagers at that age. The funny thing is, as I became distracted by my physiology changing as well as to the world influencing me and what may have you, whatever it was, outside situations coming in, the abilities shut down. Now, I was also in a abusive household or abusive situation growing up. There was a lot of abuse. And so I guess not surprising that stuff kind of disappeared too, the memories. Essentially what I'm trying to say is there's a period of time between the ages of 13 and 16 when the abilities not only shut off, but I also suppressed a lot of the abuse growing up. So they all kind of just went away at the same time. That's important because a lot of the abuse actually, I later found out, triggered a lot of the abilities, at least a lot of the fear around certain members of the family. I'll get into that in a sec, but basically around the ages of 16, I'm influenced by TV like everyone else. I start watching, you know,
definitely
superhero movies and TV shows and what may have you. And I start hearing about monks doing things, and I want superpowers, not knowing that I already had them at all because they were suppressed. But I want superpowers. So it's just in my head for a while, I suppose. You know, that kind of excitedness.
So how did your parents kind of grasp, you know what I'm saying, towards like your abilities and, you know, going through these situations at night and, you know?
I didn't tell them until I was like 18. Actually, probably a little ways after my 18th birthday, because I was teaching other people at that point. So they wanted to know what I was doing. And that's when they found out through the internet what I was doing. I was doing a lot of this in private throughout college. From the ages of 16 to like 19. And so they didn't know until my brother pulled up a video of me on YouTube talking about astral projection. And then they all just looked at me kind of weird. A lot of them thought I was scamming people. They were like, you can't, like, what are you talking about? You're dreaming. Yeah, they weren't very open to it at all. And then I started showing them my students. And then they're like, okay, so he's doing something, but other family members were like, I don't think so. It took me ages, years, to catch up with what I'm doing. And even now, I'm not even sure if all of them are open to it. I haven't spoken to them in a long time, just because there's some uncomfortability there. And my life just took a turn where I started traveling a lot, so I don't really see them anymore. That may change in the future, hopefully, as they start coming around to the way I live. There are certain abilities I want to develop, irrefutable abilities that I want to be able to do in front of them, like levitation and telekinesis, maybe a little bit of teleportation, just so that they're like, okay, this is something I can actually see, so I know Ryan's the real deal, rather than them having just lean on my astral projection abilities, you know? Because they don't know I can astral project unless I astral project and pull them out of their body, and there are some issues there.
Yeah.
But I wanted superpowers. When I was, I feel like I'm jumping around a little bit, but the abridged version is I drowned and I came close to death. I revived myself, came to, and within a couple of months after that incident, I started remembering the suppressed memories, as well as, you know, the suppressed memories of the entity interactions, as well as to the suppressed traumas. And then through just remembering all of this information, my body couldn't tell the difference between the past and the present moment. And then lo and behold, as I'm in bed, after a bout of remembering all these experiences, my body decides to astral project. It's like they became a trigger. I then extrapolated a lot of data from my memories and came up with so many methods to somehow recreate the same experience so that I could astral project on demand and see entities on demand. A whole bunch of different things, actually. And then, I just basically made them better and better until it was easier and easier to not only do it myself, but also teach another person. And now I can do it on demand. I just lie there and slide out, and I can travel.
Well, I remember a couple of years ago, I ran across a lot of your videos, your tutorial videos on how to like astral project outside the body. And a lot of those techniques, man, it's like, it blew my mind with the first time I done it, you know what I mean? And it really works. And I was like, being a person that's, on a spiritual journey, such as myself, I was looking for different methods and, different ways to exercise my body to understand different realities and different realms and, understanding the brain a little bit more, the functions, the knowledge behind it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of this stuff been doormatted. A lot of this stuff been locked away for a long time. So I noticed that you have, been in contact with different beings as well. Where are some of the beings that you have made contact with? Lemurian beings, Andromeda beings. It's more to it. It's a lot of different beings.
Yeah. It's been a while since I thought about that stuff, because a lot of the entities, a lot of the alien experiences happened a lot in my college days. So 15 years. No, about 14, 13 years ago. And so a lot of that stuff has kind of slowly drifted away from my mind. But I can try and force my brain to remember.
What are like yeah, I mean some of the like the realities you pivot in.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them, the reason why I like the astral realms, a lot of the different realities, is because they often reflect certain elements of physics, like quantum physics and science. And I'm a science buff. And so there are certain ways in which you can look at dimensional space and peer into an atom. And then you fly into the nucleus of the atom. Sounds crazy, but you basically shrink really, really small and you slip into the nucleus of the atom. And the space within that atom is so large, it basically reveals an entirely different dimension to you. And within it are different beings as well.
Yeah,
as well as other cracks in space-time, which sounds more right in this context. And then you can go through those little cracks. You end up someplace else. I often say to people, it's not like the realms are stacked on top of each other. They're actually interwoven. They're inside out. And so, yeah, it's pretty interesting when you end up astral traveling to different realms because you get to see the uniqueness of each one, as well as to the beings that live there, that are all indicative of the astral realm that they reside in. And so if one realm is bursting of light and it's constructed out of light, the beings will look like that too. If one realm, perhaps there are trees that walk around. I haven't seen something like that. But let's say, for example purposes, there are trees walking around and the plant life is quite active. Well, then the beings there will also look like plants.
Yeah, I noticed that about plants too. Plants have a real distinctive like vibration about them, and also from a micro atom standpoint, they actually play music, like like the flowers and mushrooms and stuff like that. They have a unique like vibration, like tune, and it sounds like music when it's like when you actually like connect with like that energy. And I noticed like a lot of your videos, I was seeing like like I was like very getting deep diving into it. You know what I mean? I was deep diving into like the the hell realms and stuff like that. People didn't really understand it, but all the stuff that you said on that video was like 100% accurate. You know what I mean?
And I like that because like I don't know 9 times out of 10 what it is that I'm seeing until I come back, and then I look it up. It just so turns out that that thing actually exists, or a concept exists, or a specific plane exists within the literature, the Taoist literature, when it comes to certain hell realms and certain philosophies. Love it. I really like going backwards in time because then when I Google search things through archives, I get to visually see what I actually saw in the astral projection experience.
Anything from like the 1970s or 60s, you know, want to go back to like the past or visit?
Well, the one thing that stands out is the Coke can design that they used to have back then. It was more of a cylindrical shape and it wasn't rounded or bezeled out at the top or bottom at all. And there was a lot of whites and reds, whereas now it's mostly silver and red, you know. Which shocked me when I found that. I also have a video on that. I'm sure you've seen it if you watch anything on the hell realms, those dimensional spaces. I walked through some type of a lounge before I even got, did I say before I got into hell? I think I may have even just spawned in hell, like just materialized there.
I got some wild conversations from there. Like, you know, from the point that, you know, like, you know, Zeus and all the different, you know, different beings that's down there, you know what I mean? Understanding like, you know, who's in control of different realities. And man, it's so much like inferior knowledge out here. It's amazing because it's almost like we are a type 1 level civilization. We're type 1. We still trying to get to type 2 and 3. And the blockage is on our planet is really like shutting us from like progressing and growing. And I feel like we moving in the right direction, but it's gonna take a while for us to like connect. But I see like the transformation between like the people like rising, the consciousness rising, and the communities rising, and you could see it, and you can feel it. You can feel the energy out here just rising like every day. You know what I mean? And it's a scientific fact, and I'm seeing this. You know what I mean? And also, like, have you like encountered like different like situation like with the Galactic Federation or
Not anything of late. I remember growing up as a kid, before I even knew about astral projection, you're looking at probably 5 years up till maybe 12.
5 to 12.
So I had dreadlocks still. And I remember when I was 13, they cut it all off because the kid had lice and just destroyed my head. And so, but during those times, I remember distinctively being taken by specific beings after going to bed, and then walking down the corridor, and then sitting amongst the table, surrounded by certain beings that looked either reptilian, or they are made out of light, or they're like the classic gray aliens. And every time I would have a woman that would stand next to me, kind of like a teacher, like a school teacher. She had that very loving energy. And then it was like they had I don't know, like they had complete control over my brain. They could determine as to whether or not I was stressed out or anxious or afraid. It's like they made me like a computer. And then they would just turn on, kind of like a sleep agent. There we go, a perfect example like what you see on TV. All of a sudden they'll say something or like I would just start talking about details about my experiences here, and they would ask specific questions about the state of humanity, more specifically, if they were ready or not for certain things. There would always be certain parties that wanted to show up sooner than later, and they would argue against that. I was basically a fly on the wall, their own little spy. And they liked me a lot because they could influence me, because I was very young.
Yeah.
So they could say anything and I'd probably believe it. Obviously, I had to be a little cautious, but they don't really go for adults because we know too much. We're not really going to want to spill the beans, or we're going to be very hard-headed, and that could affect how they control our subconscious mind. But with kids, we're nice and open. We'll listen to anything. Like if someone says Santa Claus is real, we'll believe them. And so, yeah, we're suggestible. We're very easy to influence. But even then, they still control the mind of the person that they're getting information from. But yeah, I haven't spoken to a lot of aliens or things like that in a while, just because of the nature of these types of entities. They can be quite they're like cockroaches. They're hard to get rid of. So
where you at right now as far as like astral projecting? Are you still like capable? Are you still like intuitive into it?
Oh yeah. Last time I actually projected was, I believe, 2 days ago. I wasn't necessarily looking to discover anything huge. I just slid out because I've been practicing other abilities recently.
Yeah.
And they kind of coincide with astral projection a little bit. Like there's some overlap. And so I find myself astral projecting here and there. About 3 days ago, I astral projected intentionally just to practice telekinesis and understand quantum physics a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that was pretty fun. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to understand the quantum parts right now, because it's quantum healing, quantum physics, quantum. It's so much like quantum information out there. You got different healers out there that actually doing light language right now. Healing different parts of the body, using like different colors and different magnitudes of like quantum technology. I believe these are design downloads that coming from like the higher consciousness, and the higher consciousness is connected with us. And so I guess as we ascend in these different shifting multitudes of like this energy like connected to our planet. And I believe like this energy is like really transforming us to like the the better version of us.
That's interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of different types of energies that can assist people into moving into so many different directions.
I'm seeing the kids doing it now.
Yeah,
especially they actually on TikTok, practicing telekinesis, pushing the aluminum across the you know what I mean?
Yeah, what's it, Tai Chi? That's the new one that's recently showing up. I guess it's not new when it comes to being a practice, because the people that have stated to be able to do it, to be masters in it, know the techniques that have been doing it for decades. But for some reason, it's almost an anomaly on the internet. Like you can even ask like ChatGPT, for example, an AI, to scour the internet and to look up what this practice is, and it won't come up with anything. And so for some reason, although it's old, it's, I want to say it's still new. I guess it's had a resurgence. There's only two particular types of people that claim to be experts online. One of them I definitely believe, because he's a kid that can do it really well. The other one, I think it's a couple. She has a story where she says her dad told her how to do it. But I wonder, because her video seems like a carbon copy of the other kids, almost down to the words that she says, except for her story in the beginning. And we all know that's what happens on TikTok. You copy things almost verbatim. And so I would say that one guy, I think he calls himself Senpai Kai, is pretty good at stuff. Other than that, there's Ernst Wieder, Alex Shimko, and anyone connected to that circle. They seem to be pretty into this stuff as well, and good at it as well.
So what about any like bad like episodes as far as like dealing with like some mega like demonic type of energy like you couldn't really get rid of, such as like dealing with the grays, or dealing with
Well, there was a dead man that was constantly well, only recently did I have like a kind of amoeba looking creature that was in the bedroom that would move really fast. It kept taking me to the astral plane. Actually, there's a few of them. It would keep taking me to the astral plane, and when I did catch a glimpse of it, it would look like a plant cell, but blue, with a little brain inside, not a human brain, more like that of a cell, the nucleus of a cell. And that thing was strange. I wouldn't say it was too dark. It wasn't like demonic or anything. It did have some mischievous energy, but I think that was just some type of dimensional entity that found its way into the room. It was about 1.5 feet tall, maybe 2 feet tall, and about 1 foot wide. That thing was interesting. Other than that, around the same time, I had a girl that would constantly wake me up in the morning. At one point, she woke me up just by grabbing my left foot like that. She put her hand under the covers and grabbed it, which was weird because in the astral realm, I could see the covers come up. I could feel her holding my foot. But when I looked to see where the covers were leading to, there was nothing there. But I could sense that there was someone there. I could sense her energy. She was dark.
Was it cold feeling? Like cold?
She was not cool. She didn't feel cold. In the astral realm, you don't really have sensations like that. You just feel touch and intention most of the time, like fuzzy feelings, depending on how well their astral bodies created to a smoother surface if they're quite well formed. But she grabbed my foot, and that was weird. And then the next day I woke up with her arm around my neck, and she was snuggled up behind me, and she felt like a dead corpse. Just like the feeling of her just felt like she was dead for a while. And I could tell that she was behind me before I woke up, because I woke up in the astral plane. I didn't wake up here. Whenever someone's attached to me or they're harassing me, their energy will cause me to astral project. And so that thing, she was behind me for a while. And then I was like trying to get her to move off of me. And then I started saying certain prayers, because prayers sometimes can really get rid of certain beings. It just depends on which beings are harassing you. This particular woman, she didn't necessarily run away like a demon. So she was just definitely a ghost. I could tell from the first time she showed up. However, she did get annoyed. Not so much at the fact that I was praying. It's not like the words scared her away. It was more so the words, well, my attempt in trying to get rid of her bothered her, you know? Like when you're like, stay away from me. Like, no, I want to stay here. It was that type of feeling I got from her. You know, she was mad at the fact I was trying to get rid of her. And then she went really, really fuzzy, really, really small. And then she just, it's almost like she shrank and became this big and then just faded away from my back with the kind of rejection energy that she felt. She never came back after that. What else?
So you feel like this like a generational type of passed down through your family that you just inherited?
No, that was just a random net girl. It happens. Like for example, about a week before that, and this was really recent actually. This was within the month of May. There was a dead dude, pretty large, that would just stand in the corner of the room. At first, he would harass Shahrazad, and then he would start harassing me. I'm like, I saw a dead guy standing there, and he's like, yeah. Well, she goes, yeah, that corner, right? I'm like, yeah, he's always there. And even one time during a meditation, I opened my eyes and I could see and feel him there. You know, so I wasn't even astral projecting. It's so.
Some of them are like real aggravating because they don't want to leave. I mean, until you apply the principle of like, get out.
And that's what we did. We just told it to get out. And actually, she told it to get out. She astral projected and said, look, you don't live here anymore. We don't want you here. You need to get out. It's weird you being here. It's creepy. And then he got kind of depressed, like, oh, and then he bummed out, and then he just left. Yeah.
So, like, as far as like your family history, did somebody down the line like, hey, I'm gonna just pass this down to the next one, and you was like up for inheriting like that that gift, that spiritual gift? Was there anybody down the line like like right here was like very spiritual, like maybe have some connection to like like some tribe or whatever?
It's funny you say that. I haven't told this to anyone yet. You said tribe and it rang the bell. I'll tell you that in a sec. But otherwise, generationally, in terms of parents, my mom used to be able to see dead people, and probably a whole bunch of other things that she hasn't told me or hasn't quite figured out yet, like differentiating what happened to her in her past. But I remember one particular story where she said that she was standing under a bridge with her mom. She was a kid, and she saw all these dead people standing underneath the bridge. There was water running underneath it, but not so much that you can't stand there, you know what I mean? It was more like a very low to the ground kind of creek where you just hop the stones, and she saw all these dead people standing there. And she said since then she didn't want to see anything, so she closed her eyes and wished it away, and it never turned back on. I believe these things came from my mom. My dad, he hasn't really told me that he could do anything. Although he did feel like he believed in this stuff. He'd always stay quiet whenever one of us saw something. You could tell it freaked him out. And so I think he did believe in certain things. Yeah. But other than that, I've taken ayahuasca a handful of times, and luckily got to experience the whole past life rabbit hole. And a few past lives, I had this ability, and others like it. And one, I was shown to be, at the time, they didn't call me a witch because that wasn't the thing that they said. It was it was an African country. It was in Africa, a tribe in Africa. And it was a very, very, very long time ago, and I was a female. And I knew a lot of things when it came to crossing dimensions, in a spiritual sense, speaking to beings, the herbs, which it sounds weird just saying that word herbs, because back then they were so different, you might as well call them something else. There were a lot of different ways of speaking, and the whole village knew of me, and they were very comfortable around me. So it's very different. Yeah.
So how was that over there? I mean, you visit Africa, right?
I haven't gone physically. Is that what you mean? Or do you mean like in the actual
have you physically visit Africa or any parts like Kenya,
No.
traveling?
I've been a little put off, if I'm going to be completely honest. by my experiences with African people growing up. There are different types, you know, different flavors of characters and what may have you
Oh
in
man,
communities.
the tribe over there and the festivals and stuff, like, man, it's amazing because they have this festival, like literally they had this Kenju, kind of like it's a celebration, but they let the spirits kind of like do a lot of the celebrating for them.
Is that the one where there's like the big,
Yeah, it's
like,
so
and it
many of
spins around?
it's
There's a
so
spirit
many.
in there. It's like the
Yeah,
big
it's so many of
yarn
them.
of
Yeah, those like the was
you
like
know what I mean?
dead children. It was dead children that was like have the ability to like bring protection to the people or something like that. I haven't got really deep into it, but I seen it. You know what I mean? I ran across it like a lot of different times, and you know they brought it to my attention. I started doing a lot of research on it. Like, wow, you know, this is amazing right here,
I'm
and
gonna
you
see
know
if
the different tribes and stuff there.
let me see if I can show you something. I saw this video on TikTok, and it blew my mind because there's no one in there. There's no one in there, and this thing's moving around. Look, you can see that. See that?
Yeah, that's one of them. Yep. Yeah. They technology is very different.
And some people are like, oh, there's someone in there. You can't see there's no feet there. There's no one jumping. And there are other videos as well where you see this thing, and there's supposedly a spirit in there that
It
wraps
is.
itself up, and then it
Yeah, it is.
dances.
You see them
And
ride motorcycles and all that. Yeah.
this is cool. I
Yeah.
must say though, I
They
am
they
gradually
they
wanting
have been
to
on
visit.
another light type of reality than than everybody. They technology as far as like they spirituality is like it's on another level. Like they real advanced in the spiritual like over there. Like, you know, the
And this
connection
one,
over there.
put
Yeah.
it over dolls, and the dolls are haunted.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just gets up and starts moving.
They have this old tree over there. It's a tree that's like been there since like the creation of Earth. And they go to this tree and like do like you know, like rituals and stuff like that. And the properties of this tree like protect you from death and like uh sickness and death. They
I should get over
very
there then.
advanced people. Very advanced people.
Yeah, I should get over
They
there then. Yeah.
mm-hmm. What's something like the ideology as far as like where you at right now with your spirituality?
Like how I view it, type thing.
Yeah, like you know, where you at right now? Is you going furthermore like upgrade your abilities, or are you looking to like do more? Or...
Well, at the moment, I'm looking to. Well, I am learning. Actually, I'm currently learning from Ernst how to move things with my mind, which was interesting. I got one of his courses, and it was pretty substantial information-wise. So there's a lot of information in there, and the courses are allowing me to learn how to develop my energy specifically for. Well, it says you can use it for about 3 abilities, which are pyrokinesis, telekinesis, and levitation. And it's funny because when I was in high school, no, I was in college. This was just after learning that I can astral project. I wrote down in a notepad the abilities that I wanted before I was 33. And I'm getting very close to 33 now. And I noticed that coming up to this year,
I could have
people
sworn you
showed
was like
up in
40 something, man.
No. Coming, no. If I grow my beard, I look much older.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I said, I know Ryan, like, you got to be like 40. I was assuming you was 40 because of the beard and stuff. Because I noticed you've been on YouTube for a minute, though.
Yeah.
But now when you got the beard off, you look like you're young.
And I grew it on purpose for a multitude of reasons. One, I've always wanted to grow a beard, and I wanted to see what it would look like, because I've never done that before. The second was people would treat me differently, and they do. It depends on how I look. I get more respect when I have a beard. If I'm like this, I get way less. And so I was like, try just having a beard and have an easier life for the next year. And my life was so easy. Going out was so easy. There was no competition or alpha testosterone crap coming my way. People would just like look down or look away. They would just leave me alone. Their energy wouldn't go near me because I had a beard that was like huge. I intentionally cut it. Oh, you're muted, by the way. I intentionally cut it so that it was like a Kratos beard. And yeah, I'm like, I like that. That was easy. That was easy life. I'm gonna do it again. Oh, you're muted. Your mic's muted.
Have you had to be on some type of diet, like when you naturally like projecting yourself? Because a lot of people get this. It's a big discrepancy about the meat and being vegan.
Eat meat. Stay away from pork because parasites, they can survive the cooking process. And if you're going to eat meat, make sure it's not pumped with hormones. Just use a little bit of common sense. I mean, come on. Okay. I have a very long story because I was vegan for almost 9 years. And I did it right. I did it all. I did different types of veganism. I'm trying to get
where you're at right now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And a lot of people say veganism is where it's at. But I would like to politely disagree and hopefully open some people's minds. Because I don't want to go too much into it because there's a lot of information here. But
yeah.
The fats run the body. Herbs heal the body. It's quite simple. Eat everything organic. Eat within the phases of the moon. Eat seasonally. Have your teas within certain moon phases. Don't overconsume. Don't underconsume. And understand when you should put hot foods into the body and when you should put cold foods into the body.
Yeah.
It's really important.
A lot of people will say that too about the morning, like that, cold food morning, hot food daytime.
And don't mix foods that shouldn't be mixed. You don't want to make your body confused. Exhausted. I swear to you, if you can do this properly, you will live a very, very long time. And when you get to a specific age and you realize that your body's falling apart, you'll strategically know how to build it up again so that you never fall apart ever again. If you don't want to fall apart and die to the process of decrepitude, you can prevent that from happening if you've got a lot of information in your head and a lot of wherewithal with all these things. But I've noticed a lot of people that are vegan, including myself at the time, we're very young. We have a lot of energy in the beginning. And so we don't realize, we don't really realize what gives us energy. Because we have it already, almost at like an infinite amount. But once you get to a specific age and you start running out of energy, then, and I would say only then, will you realize what certain foods do to you. What certain foods you can benefit from. Because now you're coming tired, you're depleted in something, maybe it's zinc or potassium. And then you prepare a specific food. Yep. Maybe it's liver stew, and it's the winter. And then you eat it. And all of a sudden you feel amazing. And your brain works properly. You start to realize that there are certain minerals within these specific meats, whether it's organ meat or certain cuts of the animal, that not only run the brain in certain ways, but can run your body in certain ways.
Yeah,
and then you realize, oh my gosh, I've been deficient in so many things. Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying about like the different emotions that come from these like meats and stuff, like because like you were saying about the pork. I noticed when people like consume pork, they end up having like anger issues. I believe it's coming from the animal energy, as in like they didn't want to like die or whatever. And then they bring that energy into they self, and it's kind of like manipulating the energy inside of your body, like
So 3 things that I've discovered. I'm not usually a this or that type of guy, black or white type of guy. I usually dip my toes in everything and then spend enough time with something until I can extrapolate what works and then throw away what doesn't. I've done this with enough diets to know that when it comes to eating and anger, there's a lot here. first is what you said. Yeah, if the food's treated poorly, it's going to cross over to your body and your subtle bodies. You're going to feel it subtly. Another one is the placebo effect. There's this whole thing culturally where people seem to think that they're animals when they eat steaks. You can kind of see it. And especially if you grow up around people that eat a lot of meat, they kind of act like it. They act like animals. Like, big steak. They kind of don that mask, so to speak. But that's something that's taught. I remember learning that when I was a kid, around a bunch of brothers, watching my friends do it. I remember the kind of rituals with my friends in the backyard with a barbecue and acting all manly. It's all instilled in us to a certain extent. You can remove all of that and eat meat. You can clean the meat properly and remove the energy and eat meat. I'd rather just eat meat and eggs that come from farms that are more humane. It's much smarter. And if you're really into it, there are some places out there where you can get, I was going to say roadkill, that would be the term. Animals that have already died through natural means and are still fresh, and then they're collected. Some people are like, but if you kind of think of it ancestrally, we kind of did that anyway because we couldn't fight certain animals to kill them and we couldn't hunt very well in certain tribes. And so most of the time we would just pick up animals that were already killed by the top predators at the time, and then we would take whatever's left. We got really good at breaking down bones. So we had a lot of stews back in the old day, which is why genetically speaking, you just try this out. If you have a broth, your body would remember what that feels like. I think it's ancestral. And then all of a sudden our genes turn on and we feel better. There's a lot that goes into it, but I think going back to your original question, anger, eating out of anger as well, the kind of third thing, like, well, actually, no, it's maybe there's four here. Eating out of anger is something a lot of people do. They stress eat, and that's not good. You're creating a ritual around how you conduct yourself around specific meats, and the brain learns that, and then the next time you go to eat something, you're going to be just as angry, if not more. And then there's the hormonal side of things. When you have the adequate nutrition or the adequate amounts of nutrition within your body, your hormones level themselves out. So you get super aroused, you get kind of aggressive, but that's normal. Your testosterone's spiking and you're getting to healthy levels of testosterone. Most people, especially if you haven't been eating properly for a long period of time, like a decade, are unfamiliar with that feeling. And so they become hyper-aggressive and hyper-sexualized. Well, they don't become sexualized, but they become hypersexual. And they think, oh, no, I'm becoming an animal. My vibration's lowering. It's not. You're actually fixing your body. You're putting in what it needs. Now from there, learn to dial it down energetically and eat and feel fine and be fine without being all those things. And then what happens is you basically create like a storage house in your body, energetically speaking. So you won't feel aroused all the time. You won't feel like punching something all the time. You'll feel zen. You'll be completely normal. But when the time comes where you need to be those things, you'll notice that all of a sudden your body has this unit of energy that you've stored through eating the right way that all of a sudden springs into action, and you can defend people if you need to, or maybe if you need to, with no problems.
So how do you feel about the Mandela effect? Because man, I've been seeing some changes around like the world like crazy, like stuff just out of place that I've never seen it there. Like for instance, I seen the different type of species, the bees, for instance. I wonder, did you actually saw about the meat eaters?
What you mean?
The bees that the meat eaters, the bees.
Oh yeah, the ones that eat the carcasses and create the hive out of that flesh. Yeah, that's messed up. That's like something from an alien planet. I actually said.
So when did you find about that one?
I think last week. I told Spada.
That's why I was saying the Mandela effect, right? So I was looking like, if they sneaking stuff in, like planet Earth, they just sneaking stuff in, like really just gonna throw it in your face, like it been there. Like I was looking at it like that, you know what I mean? So I'm like, wow, they really doing this. Like, cause I'm starting to see like different species, like, just like creating, like, you know what I'm saying, different things that just coming up in our reality like crazy. Just like the pink whale.
There hasn't always been a pink whale?
No, not pink, and there's a blue one and a pink one. I seen they breed.
they're in my head like all the time. Does that mean I belong to a certain timeline where there are pink whales?
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah, I
gist
know
of
the
it
dolphin.
before,
I know
right?
the dolphins got real high tech technology too. I'm supposed to be getting upgrades from them as well, but I'm not sure when. But I'm into the quantum healing and stuff like that as well.
Ah.
And I do know about the different structures of different things that's coming in. But I just didn't realize how fast it was going to do it like this. But definitely, it blew my mind. Definitely blew my mind. So I'm like, is this reality is really changing? Like,
Wait a minute. You speak to dolphins? How did that happen? Is
I
that
have
the I forget the name. They belong to a
it's
certain planet, right?
actually I have people that's around me. I have a spiritual gift too as well. As in like I can receive downloads, I can read codes, I can actually go into meditation and change different things on my timeline. And I have the ability to see the timeline as well.
Have you seen
Um,
physical changes due to going back in time and changing things in your past?
I see it too as well. Like I can wake up like this is how I knew when I was able to do it. I was able to like make it rain instantly, like less than an hour. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's why I'm saying like this it's like it's a lot of things that I'm still tapping in. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's
Yeah.
just like a video game. It's like a video game. Like you got the perks and downloads and promotions and stuff. So it's like playing Metro on like on Nintendo or something, like Zelda or
Metro
something. You know
Prime.
what I mean? You're on an adventure.
I tried that recently and I seem to have lost touch with that ability. I want to bring it back. When I was a kid, I used to do that a lot. Like all the way up till college. I used to be able to just look out the window and just stop the rain and start it at will as well. And I noticed that whenever I stopped it, whenever it would turn back on again, because it always need to come back on again. Always conveniently whenever I've gone from point A to B.
Yeah,
Like my
clouds.
friends
I've
were
been doing that
there
with. Yep.
and we were like, oh, we need to go out to the clubs. And this is when I used to drink. And it's raining. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'll just open the door, look at the sky, and I would imagine it ceasing. I'd imagine the
Yep.
feeling that I got from it, and I would
Yep.
convince myself that what I was imagining was happening right here, like it was actually reality. I'd try to take my imagination and just project it. And I'd slowly open my eyes, and it would literally stop in real time. Sometimes
Wow.
whilst I was doing the meditation, most times whilst I was doing the meditation, and I figured this out when I was a kid. I'm not sure what put it in my mind. It might have been an entity that taught me how to do it. Somehow it got into my mind that I could stop the weather. And I did that all the way up until I was in my late teens. But I
Yeah.
tried it.
What about like the clouds? You know what I mean? Have you like
Dispersing clouds.
yeah.
I tried that when I was a kid. I didn't have much luck there. I haven't put much energy into that, I would say, at all. So maybe if I did put more into it, maybe I could get somewhere. But I tend to stick with whatever I'm strongest at, which is a kind of weakness because you're not developing anywhere else.
Yeah.
Up until now, actually, I've stopped doing that. But yeah, I didn't have much luck with the cloud dispersal. I've recently seen people on TikTok moving wind pretty well. Usually I'm like, they're just waiting for the wind to come
There's a
and they're
guy.
just going with it.
There's a
But
guy
now I'm
actually
like,
doing
wait a
it. His
minute.
name is like I think Jesus Messiah. I
Yeah,
think his
that's him.
name on
Yeah,
TikTok.
he showed up yesterday and a few days ago on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think on TikTok as well. But I'm like, he actually looks like he's doing it. He starts moving first, then it moves,
Yeah.
and he creates the whirlwinds around him. Like they
Yeah. I
come to
seen it.
him and around
Yeah.
him. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is
Yeah.
looking more real.
Yeah. I actually I actually inboxed him a lot of different times. We had a great conversation. He was I was seeing some of his videos where he actually made it like lightning outside just by thinking it. It wasn't even raining, nothing in the skies.
Yeah.
He was actually channeling it inside his mind, and literally you heard a lightning bolt just come out of nowhere, like
He'd be very useful for the CIA or the special forces.
Yes, this the age of this the golden age, right? Where we at right now.
Yeah.
In the golden age is like pretty much like communing to a lot of people, as in tapping it, making them tap on and turning on a that switch in a body because of these different frequencies around the planet. And I feel it because the different the things that we see, the things that is around us, you know what I mean? Man, I got so much, man. I wish I could, man. It's so much I have to tell you, man.
There's a
Man, it's
lot.
amazing.
I'm
It's
tripping
a
over
lot.
words because
It's
I'm
a
trying to like
lot.
squeeze things into a small period of
Yeah,
time. But
it's a lot.
Yeah, interesting stuff.
Yeah. So where you at right now, man? Definitely. I know. We cut into the time. We got like 10
Oh, I'm
minutes.
fine.
Okay.
Oh, it only does it for an hour?
Yeah.
Oh, read as long as you want. You can get as much out of this as you want. You can cut it up into parts. You can do another one if you'd like. It's entirely up to you. Everyone left the house.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for even being here. Thank you. Because you've been like a help to like the community on the YouTube videos, the tutorial, and establishing a lot of things. Also, I know you have students that teach under you as well. As far as like you have in like books and stuff right there for people like to like pick it up.
Oh, wow.
Are you in the
At
process of putting out a book?
I have this personality where I tend to stay away from things that are popular.
Yeah.
And writing books are very popular. And I feel like they've kind of lost their credibility now. Like it's so easy to write a book and anyone can write a book. And I don't like the idea of anyone writing books because
I hate writing books, but I hate writing books too. But I have so much information. But now we have the AI. AI can like go ahead and just write it down for me, AI.
Oh no, I like writing. I fell in love with writing when I was a kid. I used to write my own Goosebumps novels and draw the covers. It's the idea of writing a book and why people do it nowadays that I don't necessarily like. There are so many people that can easily write something and come across as a professional. And I feel like that's kind of watered down the value of books since 2010. So I know there are still people out there that will see a book and run to that before they go to a course or YouTube channel because books have this credibility about them that people cling to. But that part of my brain that won't, I just can't bring myself to do it because of that. So I've been staying away from books on purpose. I started writing one a long time ago, but I shelved it. And every now and then I think, oh, that would be great to revisit and change. But I'm like, I want to show someone something. I don't want to write about it. I want something a little bigger, something that requires a little bit more belief than something that's already instilled, something different.
Yeah, definitely.
Other than that, I don't have a book, but I have courses. Many video courses, some that are like entry-level courses where they teach you how to think in order to astral project. They help you on a mental level. I have ones that condition you into an astral projection state so that you can leave your body whenever you want. That was one that I actually kind of finished at when I was figuring out how to do it using my memories. That was the one that basically fixed me to this astral projection state of being, and that's what it does to other people, which is cool. I also have, for those who really can't afford much, I think it's like $4.99. Yeah, it's like $4.99, something like that, super small, an audio that if you get speakers and you place them in the corner of your room, it's really cool. Just follow the instructions and close your eyes. It will sound like I'm standing in your room. And I'll walk you through the astral projection practice
that's
personally. Nice. And as I walk through the room, you just do exactly what I say. I did this with a client in person. This is where the idea came up, the idea for this meditation. I did this for a person I did this for a client in person. There we go. And she actually projected on the same night and spoke to, she said her ancestors and even an alien that she wanted to speak to for a long time just showed up in her room. And I was like, what? And this was really cool because like, she was doing this whilst I was awake in the other room. She went straight to astral project and she saw this stuff. So I made the audio for people. It's like the fastest way I know to help people around the world without them having to see me, because I don't have a base of operation. And so what better way than to use technology to get into your room? Sounds bad, but then I can guide people. That's cool. And then for those who have a little bit of cash and have a lot of time, anywhere from 6 to 8 months, I've just started from February this year, teaching people personally everything that I know about astral projection, which now that we're in like month, I don't know, 4, something like that, I'm slightly regretting it.
Yeah, June 5th.
Yeah. I'm slightly regretting it because there's a lot of information that I gave to them, and I've actually overworked the students that signed up for that 6-month program, to the point where they're now pushing it, because it's supposed to be a call every other week. They're pushing it to every month, like once a month, because it's just too much. And
that's the biggest question I had with astral projection. Okay, I'm capable of doing it. I could do it at will now, but it's just the fact that I left my body, like, doing it, the exercise and the techniques and stuff, because there's so many different techniques. And when I left my body, I noticed I couldn't control it. It was like literally. And I just once I got to this certain peak of like high rise, I just stopped going back to my body, like transferring my thought back to the body. I came back to my body and woke up.
Yeah. Huh.
It's like you trying to get airplane license.
So stuff that happens. Yeah. I can see.
So they said something about if you fear, just go ahead and go right back. Just go right back. Turn around. You're like, you got so many chances to do it.
Well, you've actually got like 3, maybe 4 in one sitting. You'll come back to your body, but you notice the energy will be way more dulled, especially around the solar plexus. Yeah. And you might have to stay there a little longer to initiate another one. And if you do get out again, you'll notice when you come back, there's way less this time. You get lucky if you get 4, but you're really scraping the barrel there. You do need energy to leave the body. Yeah.
Wow. So it is like it does like does the body respond when you get tired when you're out there in the planes?
If you're tired, you shouldn't be able to astral project. There are ways of pulling it off.
Shouldn't do it when you're negative.
Not when you're negative. You have to basically become best friends with your subconscious mind, because it controls your body. It also controls the mechanism of sleep, and REM sleep, more importantly. A lot of people try to force themselves to stay awake so that they can get a nice in-between state. The problem is you're trying to trick your brain to get you into an astral projection state by removing quite an important aspect of sleep, which is REM sleep.
Yeah.
And so the problem now the brain says, hey, no, you're not going to astral project. I need you to go to sleep because we need to catch up on REM sleep. But now the person wants to leave the body. There's this struggle. There's this battle between who's going to get the consciousness. The brain usually wins every time, especially in the beginning. And again, your subconscious mind controls your brain. You have to become best friends with your subconscious mind that's in control of the sleeping mechanism, so that if you want to astral project at nighttime, you can just say to it, hey, I want to astral project. It's like, no big deal, sure, regardless of how tired you are. That's for people who basically mastered it. It takes a lot of effort, and you shouldn't do it anyway, even if you could, because you are running on fumes, and you are in kind of danger because you're going to end up astral projecting at nighttime. So that's when we get tired. And at nighttime, there are beings that could steal your energy and just drain you. They won't kill you by taking your energy.
I learned the hard way.
But they'll drain you.
I did that when I was like, I had something like that happen to me when I was like, I'm gonna say like 12 or 13. I think I had a bad day. I don't know what it was. I had a bad day, and I automatically came out of my body and shifted into like a reality of like the unknown. You know what I mean? It's like demonic. I seen it. You know what I mean? I felt the attacks that came to me. Like literally, I was like, I couldn't even get out of there. It's like I felt like I was there like maybe 3 days or something. It just it felt that way. It felt like I was like time passing by. I can't get back. So I'm like, wow, what is really going on? I was it took me to calm down to get back.
Hey, it went over the hour and it didn't shut down.
Yeah. So that's why I like, oh man, it take a lot of work. It's a lot of patience, and definitely you got to humble yourself when you.
It takes a lot of work, and yeah, you can't be. You cannot be a teenager astral projecting. You cannot. I mean, you get to a certain age where we'll realize that your mind changes as you grow up. Certain people instill certain energies and headspaces into your head. They become your personality. You can't be like a college student astral projecting. You can't be, I would say, a college student or even a young adult astral projecting just because of how people think. If you were from a different culture, it would be a good idea because different cultures think differently. They're much different. In the West, we're idiots when we're young. I mean, let's face it, we do stupid things. We speak in silly ways. We have ridiculous intentions. And that type of mind cannot go into the astral plane. If you want to master it, you got to change how you think and who you are, essentially. Because it's better if you just don't go over there. Yeah. You'd be chased around.
Man, there's so much stuff I can,
taking so much advantage of.
Like, yeah. The journey on that, I mean, the journey is like, oh man, it's very like challenging. But I mean, if you really want to reap the benefits of like knowing your true self and understand these downloads and, you know, want to see different realities and visit past, present, and future, you name it. It's the possibilities in like inferior to like infinity, you know what I mean? And man, it's amazing. It's amazing because man, I could tell you some a lot of different things, man. Like it blew my mind because I never knew like life was like, you know, open to like this. You know, I thought life was just 9 to 5. You come home, you get a paycheck, that's it. You pray to Jesus. You know what I mean? It was just like that. So the more I had venture out and you know, because I was going through my little episodes right at 10, right at the age of 10. Like I was literally going through it, like, you know, the episodes I had with the grades and you name it. I was going through all these different changes. And one day I got to the point where my ancestors shut me off like completely. They reset.
They can do that. Yeah.
They hit the reset button on me. Like because I was actually going through a lot of different attacks. I couldn't control it. And they just shut me off, like literally. One button.
And sometimes, you know, you think you're never gonna get it back ever again. Like you honestly have that feeling because they can shut you up and bar you and just leave you alone, and you will feel their spiritual presence disappear, and you won't realize how much you're connected to these beings until they leave. It's really weird. It does feel like abandonment. It feels like they literally exit not only your space, but they're dimensions away from you now. You really do feel like they don't exist anymore, or that you've been barred, and they don't give you any semblance or feeling that you're going to have a connection with them ever again.
Like right now, I have a spirit of one of my ancestors. She's like a shaman woman that actually walk around me.
Yeah.
She walks around me. She had the bones on her neck. She have like this brown, like kind of like this kind of like a muumuu. It's like a muumuu. You know what the muumuus is, right? Those little dashiki looking things like that. But she have like a lot of bones, like gray hair.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like a shaman woman. She walks around me, like literally, like I think she was just watching over me or whatever. It's like one of my guardians and stuff like that. So I you know, go into my different meditations at night, and I be zoned out. Sometimes I don't wake up. I wake up till morning. Sometimes I zone in, and it'd be like 4 hours, 5 hours pass, then I come back out of it. And I notice I be hearing like the different like people around me. I can feel it. I can feel energies around me. I can read the codes and stuff like that. But it's basically to protect me from like, you know, protect me.
That's cool. But I haven't heard someone talk about light language outside of ayahuasca before. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm still
And,
learning now. I'm still learning the different, like, different things attached to, like, capabilities.
man,
Yeah, definitely, man. Man, I thank you for even like being here, Ryan, because I know you got a family to attend to. I know, your daughter.
I mean, they're not here at the moment. They're out at the pool.
Oh,
So
okay, okay,
a
okay.
while, yeah.
Definitely,
I
man.
might, yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah,
y'all could definitely find Ryan got his own channel here on YouTube, Ryan Cropper channel.
yeah, yeah.
You can find him there, spiritual life coach. He deals with a lot of different helping you navigate through like astral projection,
Mm,
navigate you on
yeah.
like less coaching you, helping you understand your life a little bit more better.
But I don't
And
want to keep you. So if you need to go anywhere, we can call it here if you like.
man, you good. I got a little bit more time. I got like good 15 more minutes. I'm definitely you good.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I was like I would like to go back to like different things because I still try to understand it myself. Why these things happen to us the way it does. Especially the attacks when we was like little. I could remember my attacks was like a little bit different. Because the Greys used to come to me at night, literally, and snatch me out of bed, take me to like different places. And they used to experiment on me a lot. When I say a lot, you know what I mean? So I was like going through depression at the time. I couldn't understand what was going on. You couldn't bring it to your parents because your parents would always think you up. Oh, he crazy. He crazy. You gonna have to put him in the psych ward and all that. You know what I mean? Because they don't really earn your trust just yet. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel like life supposed to be like this little straight path. You know what I mean? But dealing with like a conscious level, I feel like the brain inherited from somewhere or you trying to remember something and it triggers it. You know what I mean? It's like accidents or some type of significant like issue that happened along the line because it's a repeat from your previous life. I feel like it's a past life aggression that you're trying to like complete, but it allow you to trigger it and allow the brain to snap on like you have an assignment to finish. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It's progression. It's very progressive. A lot of the abilities that come easy to people, they have them because they had them in past lives.
Yeah.
The ayahuasca helped me understand this very clearly. Uh, it's if you can imagine dreaming, you know how we have different dreams throughout one night, different themes, maybe we're different people. Imagine
Yeah.
if every version of you in each dream was good at art. It's literally the same thing here. It feels the same too, except now you're here and you're still good at art. It's still like muscle memory, still there. Only it's with abilities, you know.
Yeah. That's why I was trying to understand too. When you just said something that opened my mind about the different personalities of these different yous and alternating dimensions. So each
Ah,
one of these different dimensions is like you. Like you have a criminal, you might be a criminal on this line. You could be a millionaire on this line. You could be this old aggravated person on this line. This one right here, this hateful, disgusted with the world. There's like so many different personalities, right? So all these different personalities, they're learning on these different timelines, right? So when you're going through this awakening, like this process that we're going through, as in waking up the brain, the conscious level, which is going to bring back the balance level in between yourself. So we have to be oneness with ourselves to like bring in like that natural like that oneness. I think we all have to go deal with this. I think we all deal with this right here, the struggle, like
it
what I'm
broke
saying,
up
the
for a
balance in
second.
between emotions. Mm-hmm.
It broke up for a second.
You can hear me?
Yeah, it's just it kind of froze, and then some
Oh
of the
yeah,
information dropped a little bit, and then it came in when you were talking about oneness.
yeah. The
What,
oneness, like the battle of the oneness, like you
can you
and
repeat
yourself.
just before that?
About the different views on different timelines.
Yeah, and how that links to oneness.
Okay, the different views on different timelines. There's different the emotionals in your level. The emotionals that's inside of you are the different views,
Oh, the
and these
emotions in your
are
body.
Yeah, the different energies are you that represent on different realities. Like your body itself is like the universe, and the universe is inside of you. So these different energies that exist within inside of you are you, and what we going through the oneness. So the oneness is the balance of bringing back you to the divinity.
Mm.
So when I had discovered a lot of you know, different things in between, like meditating and downloading, and it just come to me like
it's funny that
it
came
flow
to
like
me
a water current, like it's like a
because
water
I've
current.
heard similar concepts stemming from different traditions, as well as some of the more esoteric circles. But what you're talking about, that sounded that was all a download. No one told you that. Yeah.
Nobody.
So there's a certain corner of YouTube and a certain corner of the internet, the esoteric side of things, where they do refer to different parts of you existing in your body and also simultaneously existing in their own realms, respectively, and how they all are responsible for each other in different ways. Like how they experience their own realm, their own side of reality reflects onto the next one, and then onto the next one, and the next one, all the way to us. There's talk about it being an internal experience, and there's also talk about it being an external experience, and that there are different versions of you in different realms that all play a role in each of your experiences all the way to here. And why I mention all this, and it's interesting you said it was a download, is because when you're on psychedelics, you actually get to not only commune with these different parts of you, but you get to go to where these other parts of you exist, and you get to become them as your consciousness moves over, remembering what you can do and also how you function in these different realms and how your role trickles down to the many other versions of you. Even so much so to the point where we can get to a particular you, let's say, that exists in a dimension that's all made out of DMT, sacred geometry, like Alex Gray art. And that version of you understands how to read sacred geometry and how to use it to open portals. You can become that you and remember how to do that, come back here and do the same thing. The body, the physical body, needs time to catch up. It needs methods. It's like lead. All the entities will always say this. And there are other people that are alive today that will tell you the same thing, those who have been able to do things like this. The body needs time to wire itself to open certain energy pathways so that you can do the same things that the other energetical counterparts can do. But until then, it's just staying true to a practice if you want to bring forth an ability from another dimension. And it's the same thing when it comes to an entity telling you, let's say an entity isn't you, but it's some type of being that understands quantum mechanics and can tell you exactly how to time travel or exactly how to move your consciousness across vast distances.
Yeah.
It will tell you how to do it. And they often say, it's so easy though. Like, just do this over there. But then when you try, it doesn't quite jive with reality. However, some of them do tell you, well, yeah, you need to condition the body and stay true to a practice until what I'm teaching you works in your world. And then you're fine. But yeah, we're only a bit of a rant there. Abilities are quite interesting. Your imagination really is the limit, and the time that you dedicate towards developing these abilities too.
Because it took me, I don't know, it was I was pretty much like this, going real deep into my mind and just try to understand the knowledge behind it consistently. I get downloads by the day, and I feel like, you know, what I came from, and you know, I do know about the, you know, the resonance of like the you know, different history parts about myself. There is a I don't know if I'm saying this right. It's a machine part of me that I have on another timeline. He's actually a machine, and he's a mycelium like cyborg, and there are different parts of departments, as in chakra departments. They have different colors. these different colors they have. Like you have the heart, let's for instance have its own department. The chakras have different departments of these different beings. So when you kind of like move up in different ranks, you move up in different neon colors, these neon colors. So there's like this, like, you know, the heart have its own distinctive color. And I had this dream, the same dream I had of me working in that department. And I did the research on it and I found it and it like hit me like, whoa, is this real? You know what I mean? Like I had to question it because it sounded real silly, but I questioned it. Then I had you know, when I pulled it in, I found the download. Then I actually when I was like research. You know, I'm a Google fanatic and, you know, book reader. I know it came to me. So when it came to me, like Sicilian being, because one of my quantum sisters that hit me with it. She like Sicilian being, like you worked in a department where it works with the heart. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to like the like when you move out of the heart, you have to understand the crown. Like there's different departments, like you know, like store. And I never knew that, but there's different parts of you in your chamber of yourself, with the chakras have different colors.
So,
Those
so I cut you off, but you're right. There are, I call them the mind of the chakras, or piercing the centers of the chakras. They don't talk about it in terms of departments like you're referring to it from a visual sense, but people who are very familiar with chakras, including myself, it took me a while. Did it take me a while to figure this out? Well, probably. I was playing with chakras a lot in college. Basically, you think at different levels in your body.
Yeah.
And so when you activate the chakras, you'll realize that there is a center to the chakra. There is a mind to the center of the chakra. And so when you activate the chakra, you'll feel the mind that's responsible for this chakra. It's really weird. It's literally like you say your mind, your consciousness is split up into different parts. But there are higher versions of you, or more so esoteric versions of you. They're very spiritual minded in that the way that they think, these are parts of your psyche that can access divine states of wisdom. So we're often up here, if you kind of think of it like a mind just kind of floating around, that's you. And then you got your brain and it's got all this junk on it, all this dirt and filth.
Kind of like channel like your ability to like go inside as a micro you to go inside your chakra and like and visit it. You know, like it's like I say it feel like a Walmart center to me. It feel like a Walmart center. Like it's like construction there. There's people that's working there. You know, like that's why I'm getting out of it.
I only let it. I do mantras. I work with chakra mantras. So I do the mantra until I activate the chakra, and then I feel it go through its stages. Usually it's a subtle rumble at first, and then it's a fuzzy feeling, and then it's like a energy feeling, then it's warm. And I would feel it, like the projective quality of the chakra, depending on which one it is. And then I would follow it, because it's like a signal comes out of it, an awareness, and I'd follow the center, and I would say it's the center of the chakra, and I would allow that energy now that has been opened to move up to my head, and then I'd feel the way that it thinks. I would understand the way that it thinks, and I'd almost feel like I'm thinking like it, and I would just sit with it and empty my mind and let the thoughts just be however it thinks, and to understand it better. And I would do that with each of them, just to become familiar with the center of the chakras. But in terms of visuals, it's not. I don't go through a visual process in terms of departments. I do mantras, which is just purely sound, to the point where I'm feeling it, and then I will visualize color if need be. I can do it without color, because the color system was introduced to chakras in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's not something that necessarily has to be there unless you want to use that healing therapy with the chakras, which is a good idea. But you could use the healing color for the chakras and visualize the chakras and find the center that way. Actually, tell a lie, I remember now. In college, I had a meditation practice where I would wander a landscape, and each landscape would be a different scenery. One would be snowy, one would be jungle, one would be a river, and they would, like a line in the sand, transition into the next one. And I would have to traverse the contours of this place through the jungle, and I would strategically find certain chakras. I'd visualize the chakra and see it there. I would imagine it being a place, though. It was a way of my mind trying to find chakras. I don't know if that's anything similar, but it just came to mind as you were talking about them being like actual places. I did create that on purpose, though, as a way of trying to connect with my chakras. Back then, they were more like abstract concepts I was trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And so I came up with that kind of practice there, which is why each chakra kind of looked like their terrain a little bit. But yeah, to answer your question, I just kind of, I feel the mind and I have it come up and I just observe and see what it's like for a while. Yeah.
Definitely, man. Oh man, I wish you more success on everything that's coming. Definitely, man. I would love, like, chop it up with you on the next episode if you want to do that another time, down the line somewhere, timeline.
See how everything kind of settles.
Yeah.
That's I'm gonna go and run, have a sec, and then tend to some things. Thank you for having me on your channel. This was awesome.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate everything, man. Even, all the work that you're doing on YouTube as well, man.
Yeah. I hope to have another growth spurt at some point. I remember when I first started, I hit the ground running, and I was really posting a lot, and it was really fun, and it was new. Times have kind of changed. It's different, the internet, and I'm not so much drawn to posting so much anymore.
It's
I feel like
you're on a
very underappreciated in that the content, I don't want to make something that I feel is great only for it to be torn apart.
I appreciate you, man. I know what you're doing. But I appreciate you, man.
Thanks for
Definitely,
that.
man.
Do you know
I love the work, man. Love the work, man. I know you got a family to attend to right now, man. Much love to you, much gratitude to your family, your wife, everything, man.
Thanks for that. It's just back then, more people were open-minded because the platform was for there's a different purpose. It's like, hey, it's new, it's fun, everyone's interacting for a different reason. Now people go on there to spread hate, and then
it's not about that. Definitely,
they're not there to appreciate work more so than they are to pick at it. And so that's what I mean by feeling. I feel like I've shown up to a different party now, and I don't want to put in a lot of work into making something that looks so good and sounds great. It's not for that audience anymore. You know what I mean? And so, but I'm hoping to have another growth spurt where I can find that spark again.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I'm open. My book is always open. I'm an intellectual person, really intelligent. I love to talk. You know what I mean? Cool. As far as like the information and stuff like that, I like to switch information and see what other people have that can bring, so I can understand different things as well. You know what I mean? But that's definitely, good. Man. Much love to you, man. I know you got. Definitely. We're gonna stop it right there. This is Tribal Country 44, and we have Ryan Cropper. And y'all make sure y'all check out his page and check out his books and all what he have done on YouTube, man. This man right here is a genius.
Thank you.
No problem, man. Definitely, man. Much love, man. I'm gonna go ahead and zero on this out. Much love, everybody.
Bye.